All right, see what we got going on here. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you can. This is my first time trying to do my little microphone live stream setup. We got it plugged right into the camera here, and I'm going to try to get this pulled up on YouTube so we can see you guys' comments. I can't see anything right now because I'm using the camera as a... Oh, here we go. Live stream. Here we go. Let's get some of these comments going. There we go. Live stream. Here we go. Let's get some of these. It's a little bit delayed here, so it's kind of trippy. It's kind of trippy. Where can we see the comments? Hope you guys are doing pretty well today. I'm just waiting for Elise to get home. We had some nice salmon, and now we're gonna say hello to you guys. What's going on, Dematus, Matronus? I'm not really 100% sure how to pronounce your name, dude. John Robinson, official bass boost. Jamisha Jones, how's everybody doing today? Dylan Powell, hope you're doing pretty good today. You know what? I gotta freaking take off this overshirt. Holy crap, I'm hotter than a son bitch in here. So I figured I'd just come at you guys a little one-on-one, some live action on the second channel. I know it's been a little bit since I've posted on here. I've just been trying to go gung-ho on the main channel, get caught up on projects and stuff. You guys know how it is. How's it going, Nathan? Oh, wow, what's going on, Johnny, all the way down from Florida? You guys are sending up some heat, man. We had some... Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to touch the mic. We had some crazy rain, but now we're getting that heat from you guys. I know you had a lot of rain down there, too. Mullen Performance, what's going on? Yes, I will be at Slamology. I'm going to be, right now, taking Little Blue. Everything is still in order and set in stone for taking this, I don't know, 800 miles, or I don't even remember how long it is, just one way. But I will be going there. Mullen Performance. Hello from South Africa. Bass Boss 1904. Greetings from over here in NC, man. That's a pretty long trek over there, South Africa. How's the car audio scene down there? Is it pretty big, like you think up here in the United States? What's going on from Sweden? Jan Cans. Nothing much, man. Just chilling here. Jamie 2005. Give us a little... Uh-oh, sexy boom boom. I don't know, man. I have this microphone cord plugged in here, and I can't be doing any bass demos because I have to actually drive down the road. I'm connected to Wi-Fi right now, so I'm not using any data. Let's see what this person has to say. T Innovations 09 asks, how do you run... Whoa, oh, I have to scroll back here. How do you run multiple alts and not have problems? I've been trying to run multiples and figure out how to run them and not blow crap, and how to run them when there is only one factory alt plug. Well, you can actually just splice on a whole nother plug and run it that way, as long as you have a really strong bracket already fabricated and it's nice and strong. You can just daisy chain another alternator right onto it. The alternator with the highest voltage will always be the one that's used first, and until you deplete that one, then the next alternator will kick it to make up for what the other one can't provide. They're not going to be equally split in the current. One will be always doing all the work, and then the second one will kick in. So I really can't tell you how to mount a multiple alternator bracket in a Q&A video, though. You're going to have someone come down to your house and do some stuff. Trinidad, Seattle, Sweden, Puerto Rico, South Africa, Indiana in the house, Anchorage, Alaska. What's up, Joe? What's up, Cherry Johnson? Lad David Gamer, and Team Bread Last. Definitely lots of people coming in here. Let's try to get another question as we scroll down here. Trinity Hawks. She or he is asking, I've got a question about how to tell if your RCA, your head unit are faulty. I know it's not the amp because I just got a new Scar Audio LP 80.1, something to run the 4 6 knives on the door. So hold on, he's got a question. How do you tell if your RCA or your head unit is faulty? Just take a multimeter and go on the back of it with your head unit turned all the way up. Make sure your sub output is turned up enough to be able to sense something out of it, and just see if you got 2 volts, 3 volts, 4 volts. Really common is 2 volts. Make sure it's sending out signal to your equipment, and to test your head unit, you won't be able to see the damn thing turn on to put out RCA pre-out. So as long as your head unit is turning on and sending out voltage, you'll be able to test the RCAs and the head unit kind of at the same time. You can also swap pairs out and see if you have a disparity there and then change it up. RCAs are not faulty proof. They are prone, well, not prone, but they are susceptible to damage and failure. So there's two little quick answers for you. I hope to help. I mean, nothing crazy there. Well, actually, wouldn't it average the current between the alts? Unknown GXTWR. No, not really. The point of highest voltage will always be drawn from the most, and then the next source, and then the next source. So if you have 5 alternators, they're not all going to be putting out equal amounts of power. One of them will always put out more than the rest because it goes in order from from highest voltage to lowest, and regulators aren't always 100% spot on between the tenths. You know what I mean? Caleb Unknown, how do you calculate the tuning for an octo port? Well, that can actually be a little bit tricky because it brings in both worlds, well, as much as you can, of the slot port and the arrow port, because you can build it out of straight pieces of wood. Now, it's not a perfect world with a circle with as minimum surface area as you can, and the more angles you have closer to a rectangle, the more and more surface area you have. So I would say tune it almost kind of similarly to an arrow port, but not completely, because it does have a little bit more surface area. It does function the most so out of all the types of ports made out of MDF, the most like an arrow port. So you can kind of, as a general rule of thumb, do that for the most part. But the more so you have a rectangle port, the more it's going to have restriction on the airflow going through it, generally creating more of a bandwidth and less efficiency. That's why arrow ports are very efficient. They have the least amount of surface area out of all the ports, which can provide a little bit more of a peakiness and a little bit more efficient response for SBL. Hope that can help out a little, man. I'm not trying to go crazy in depth, but I'm missing out on a lot of comments, guys. There's so many comments. I'm sorry I can't get to all these. I feel blessed to be able to have this sort of community right here at my fingertips. Can you do a rebuild of your girlfriend's bass setup? Yeah, totally, dude. I plan on doing that anyways because the existing enclosure was built for a sub that's not actually in there right now. But luckily, we do have a recone kit from Dropper Hertz sitting right in there waiting to be replaced. So we might just keep it for a little bit while longer instead of changing it up right away. Let's do another question here. Freestyle 8383. I'm sorry if I don't get to you guys' messages in this video. It's just, whew, it's piling up big time. He asked, oh no, where'd it go? Okay, if I'm using the crossover on my head unit, should I leave the amp crossover wide open? Sure, why not? But yes and no. Let me tell you both circumstances why they could be beneficial and not beneficial. Say if you took your car to a shop and all your head unit settings got reset and you didn't go back and check it and your high pass, low pass, all that was reset. And then you start jamming as usual. You don't have a safeguard set on your amp if you don't have your crossover settings set back there. So in those circumstances, if you're not always 100% on relying on your head unit, something electrical that can be reset to determine that crossover point, just do it from your amps and forget it up there. Some people do both at the same time. That can cause a lot of issues with like interfering crossovers and cause some really funky things to do to the wave, even malform it a little bit. It can totally malform the wave at the crossover point nearing to it if you have two of them interacting together. So hopefully that can help answer your question. Yes, if you want to always have something safeguarded without the electrical being able to reset it, or no, if you are always adamant about checking it from your head unit. All right, let's give a couple shout outs here. Team Bread Last, Kevin Lewis, Michael Fox, Michael Kennedy. Great to have you all in here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and just get some questions here. Is there anything I need to run? Let's go back to, hold on. I think I just answered a question from this guy just a second ago. So I'm going to answer Joshua Crows. I have a Pioneer 820 amplifier with 2 10s. I'm looking to upgrade. What is the best 10-inch subs and amplifier? Okay, well, there was bound to be a question like this sooner or later in the thread. I gotta say, these questions are impossible to answer. everybody's different. You can't take someone else's subjective opinion, experience, and bias and be like, that's the best. That is the end all be all best combination. There is no best combination. You got to pick what's best suited for your wallet, your preference, and you know what do you really like? What do you like? What are you trying to go for? Are you trying to go for an SPL at a competition every other weekend and not really worry about point A to point B listening? You really got to figure out what you're trying to go for, because there's 10s out there that can perform really well on those occasional competitions doing burps, or there's those 10s that can do really well on everyday average music because they have a slightly lighter suspension, not as geared towards us, you know, SPL heads. So you got to figure out what you want and go from there. I can't tell you what's the best. It's impossible. I'm so sorry. Here's a question from Best Bray. He says, oh shit. Do you know anything about the car audio scene in South Africa? Like brands like Star Sound and Targa, multiple Iasca and USAC World Records. I will say that by word of mouth is the only way I've ever heard of Targa. I'm not even closely intertwined into the community of the South African car audio world. I won't even pretend for half a second. So you probably know a heck of a lot more than I do about the usual brands and the dynamics of the way things go down there. But here in the US, we don't actually see too much of that Star Sound or Targa. I'm sorry to say, so I can't give you a 100% accurate answer. What's next with Little Blue? Tyler McElroy. What's next with Little Blue? Well, as you can see, we still have same old power with the PSI platform 5s. I'm thinking about adding 2 more 5Ks, so an extra 10,000 watts to hopefully get us beyond the 160, because the poll helped us by like 2 dB. If we can get that extra 2 dB from the 58, I will be so happy, so friggin' happy. That's what's up store for next for Little Blue. Question from RX. RX, I have 2 8-ohm mid-range speakers. Should I parallel them at 4 ohms? Will it sound better? All right, this is a very, very touchy subject with home audio, not so much with car audio. There will be 1,001 people saying that you can hear the difference between 4 ohm and 8 ohm power delivery. I don't. I do not think there is a difference. I just think it's best meeting what your amplifier needs. If your amplifier produces a given amount of wattage at a given impedance, go for that. Don't be tricked into believing that 8 ohms is SQ and 4 ohms and 2 ohms and 1 ohms is just for us bass heads. I would say just do what is properly called for the amplifier, and you'll be all good to go, man. Let's see, a couple more shout outs. Chris Lavier, what's up, dude? I'm doing pretty good. Dragon Slayer, hurts so good. Yes, I will be there with Slamology and Little Blue. We just answered that one just a couple seconds ago. But EXO, you made my day with the shout out. Thanks, Michael Kennedy. Thank you. I'm trying to do as best as I can. I've been replying to thousands of comments all the time on YouTube. And actually, while I have you guys right here, there's kind of a general dynamic of how I go about replying physically on YouTube. Oh, is it raining? Uh-oh. I kind of let the videos go up for a few days before I start replying to all the comments. So if you've been dropping some comments on recent videos and I don't reply to it, give it a couple days, or just go back to some older videos from 2016, 15, 14, and I reply to every single comment on those old videos. I just can't keep up with the initial inrush of comments right from the get-go. So that's how that goes. Newton Dizen, 1 ohm stable, is it safe to bring it down? Oh, excuse me, a 1 ohm stable amplifier. Is it safe to bring it down to half ohm? Generally speaking, yes, but do I recommend it? No, because a lot of the reasons when people or when amplifier companies rate amplifiers for a given impedance is because the internals, the guts, are made for our limit, or I can only handle so much. So when you bring things down to a taxing level below 1 ohm, you know, yes, there's box rise, impedance rise that allows you to get a slightly higher than resting resistance or whatever, but when you apply electricity, it does raise, but sometimes not always to the point where your amplifier will always be above 1 ohm. So could you have problems? Yes. Are there warranties for people just like you who want to bring their shit down to half ohm, sure. So why don't you go ahead and ask your provided amplifier company if they offer that, and then maybe you can bring that thing down a little bit lower. But generally, I keep my stuff above 0.7 or higher. But if I'm gonna burp it just for straight burps, bring that stuff down to half ohm. Just do it. But I wouldn't recommend it for daily use. I mean, remember, take everything I say with a grain of salt. There's always exceptions. There's always give and takes here and there. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's perfect, but I'm trying to just give you a little bit of information here. Greetings from Mexico. Mexican basshead Carlos TJ664. What's up, dude? Dan Wilburn, I will be at Slam. Yes. Chris Kyle, let's see this. Can you explain to me the difference in meters today? In 2003, I was a 153 on the dash. What would that meter on today's meter? Okay, you're referring to something. You're referring to technology that was AC microphones or sensors compared to the pressure sensors that we have now with like the SPL labs, Term labs, and the APM2s. Now, what those other ones did were almost like RTA based, where you could get almost like 6 to 7 dB higher than what you could expect nowadays with the standard issue NASA certified Term labs. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because everybody back then competed with the same microphone. It was just a different technology, so it registered slightly higher numbers. But that's not to say that the numbers weren't accurate from one car to the next. Everyone was using them. It was still a good way of seeing who was louder. But compared to nowadays, we just have a little bit more accurate way of registering the pressure, not necessarily the ambient sounds above 100 hertz or 80 hertz, but the pressure once you get down low. That's how it's illustrated as, is pressure. So that's just a little bit of difference, about 6 dB, 7 dB difference between AC, possibly. I've seen some pretty big examples. I was like a 147 on AC and a 141 on Term Lab. So I hope that can help out a little bit. All right, a couple more shout outs here. Heated Snail, Ethan Harrison, blah, blah, blah. Couple more Slamology questions. Sorry to blah you if you're asking it, but yes, I'm going to Slamology. EXO, Philippines, 4 a.m. What the hell are you doing watching me, dude? You're crazy. Get some rest. Or maybe you just woke up. Good on you. Some of the best minds in the world wake up at 4 a.m. Good on you. Shout out, please. Decibels and turbos. Shirley, buddy. There you go. A nice little shout out. Greetings. Thanks for the explanation. No problem, dude. Let's try to scroll up here. Yeah. We've got a great little selection of Here we go. What's a good way to determine how many batteries you need? Oh boy. Another potentially controversial question, because a lot of people have been getting confused with the new technology released with lithium. A lot of people are saying, you know, you only need 45 amp hours for 5K, but they're really forgetting something, that they're confusing two different technologies. With lithium, sure, you could get away with that, 5, 6, 7,000 watts on a high output alternator with a 45 amp hour lithium battery. But with AGM, you know, you'll start pulling like 100 amps from an AGM battery and start dipping. You'll start totally depleting that battery with no time. So I would say overall, man, I would hate to put a rule of thumb on this stuff, but for me, per 5,000 watts, I would want at least 2 AGM Group 31s, just for my own self-comfort, if you will. For Little Blue in here, we have a single Group 31 on each amplifier, plus a 45 amp hour lithium, which is equivalent to, I don't know, 3 or 3.5, maybe 4 AGMs. Not maybe exactly, but around there. So that's why I only have 2 of them. So yeah, I hate putting a rule of thumb on something like that, but as far as I go, I'd rather go overkill. So a couple Group 31s per 5K or more, if you want that reserve for dipping down into the 12s. You know what I mean? Because an alternator is only good for so much. So again, take everything that you're learning here as a springboard for you know, interpretation, and everything's different from vehicle to vehicle. You know what I mean? You can't, and technology too. like Brazilian amplifiers and Korean amplifiers and class A, B and class D, both of those technologies draw more or less than each other. So you can't always have a general rule of thumb. So that, just put that out there. Yo, bro, this is from Stephen Holt. Don't know if you've seen it, but can you get a tutorial up for Bassbox Pro? Dude, I kind of have a little tutorial on that. Look up how to build an Aeroport subwoofer box on YouTube, and the whole like first 5-6 minutes is all Bassbox Pro explanation, illustration, and in-depth demonstration. So hopefully that can help. Germany, greetings. How you doing, ZR? Big ups to you, buddy. Dan Wilburn, what's the box volume in Little Blue? It took a little bit of figuring out each individual area because we built it as we went, like a friggin' Lego playhouse. It is 18 cubes after sub-displacement and port volume. Without the port, it was like 21 or something, but the port takes up so much space and goes back like, I don't know, it goes back like 18 inches. So it's a good 28 hertz tuning, takes up a lot of space in there. Can you get a shout out? Hell yeah, you can get a shout out, Miss Dolly Deadboat, or Dolly, I hope you're a fucking girl. If you're not, I'm sorry. Or Mr. Dolly, D-Dote, D-Dat. Poland in the house. Damn, we got people all over the freaking world watching EXO. Big freaking thank you guys. It's a humbling experience to have this right on my phone. EXO shout out, can I hear your car at Slam? For yeah, Basshead, I'm gonna be parked at the PSI booth, so get the hell over there. That's what it's all about. Does the bass community in America know about the records South Africans put up? Most certainly. There's no way that a lot of those posts go unnoticed because of Facebook. I saw one the other day. The wires were jumping from so much current draw, and I believe it was like a 183 or something stupid from one of those, not uptown, but crazy friggin' external speaker setups. The dirt came up, the dust flew out, and they busted like a friggin' 183. So what the hell? So yeah, us Americans, even though we're pretty disconnected with everything else in the world, we know what's going up with car audio. Sure. Shout me out to Killer Clown. No problem, dude. Dopec MK6 Sport Wagon. I got a single 18 wired down to half ohm on a factory alt and a factory battery and the D3100 in the trunk. Would you recommend me getting another D3100 or switching to lithium? All right, hold on. I apologize. Let me reread this. I got a single 18 wired down to half ohm on a factory alternator and a factory battery with a D3100 in the trunk. Would you recommend me getting another D3100 or switching to lithium? All right. Well, you would be kind of a better judge of this answer, honestly, than I would, because I don't know what your voltage drop is right now. What is your voltage dropping to currently? If you're dropping below 12 volts, then yeah, you're pretty much using your battery up as much as it should go if you're dropping to 11.9, let's face it. But I don't know what you're dropping to, so give me some data, come back on the next live stream, or drop a comment on an older video on the main channel, and we'll try to get you some accurate advice there. EXO, greetings from Netherlands. Hell yeah, buddy. Dopenik Sports Wagon, Up Car, Raton, Post Malone. I got Post Malone watching. Woo! Famous. No, I'm just kidding, guys. We got Germany in the house. Let's get a couple more questions. Can't wait to see you at Slam. Are you excited? Frig, yes, I'm excited, dude. Once I got that little notification from David from PSI, literally, he's like, dude, I'm going to get you registered for Slam under the PSI 10. I was like, I'm going to have my name, me, EXO, under the I've been working with PSI for like 8 years, 7.5 years. So this is a dream come true for me. I'm going to like be a part of the crew, if you will. So it's pretty fucking awesome. Tuning. Let's get a comment from Psychedelic Paradigm. I'm going to do this for probably another 10 minutes or so about that, and then we'll call it good. We got some stuff to do here on the agenda after we're done hanging up with you guys. Tuning an amp to RMS. How does adjusting EQ levels from flat to optimal not damage subs? Hold on. I think you almost answered your own question there, dude. How does adjusting equalizer levels from flat to optimal not damage subs? Well, I would assume it's because we're setting the settings to be optimal. Because, you know, say if your low pass setting is way too low or your high pass setting is way too high, you're definitely going to notice that as a symptom. You'll probably not hear certain bass lines or hear exaggerations of certain bass lines that aren't supposed to be exaggerated or boosted. That's why it can be beneficial, because you're optimizing I'll use your same word, you're making things optimal for the system. So yeah, just setting things the correct way will never damage anything. It'll only improve something. But if you're talking about gain matching, that's a whole other story. Some people get a little trigger happy with their gains and they'll just go all knobs to the right, and that can damage subs. Maybe that's more or less what you were referring to. I'm not sure. But yeah, you got to be careful with either or. Just do it properly. Look up some videos. I myself have some that you can also watch. So I can watch. Is this live stream staying up so I can watch the whole thing? Yeah, I'll leave this live stream up for you, brother. Definitely. I'm gonna skip a couple comments by accident because I'm way behind, guys. I gotta scroll down here. How come Bassbox? This is from Break Lang. Break Lang, big shout out. EXO. How come in Bassbox Pro the estimated SBL goes down when adding more than one subwoofer? That may be something very, very small on your part as like a simple little thing to plug in, because I've noticed something with factors on Bassbox Pro that can totally skew information and results. But if you're like, oh crap, I messed that up, and plug it back in correctly, you can be like, oh, okay, there we go. Because I've never personally dealt with that problem, and I should say more importantly, I wouldn't even focus on the plotted output of a given subwoofer box. That's all just, it's all kind of just a guideline of bandwidth for me. I would never go, say if it says, oh, my loudest frequency on the plot is at 32 hertz. Well, guaranteed your cabin environment is going to raise that mother trucker back up to 38, 40 hertz, because everything has a bearing on that, especially when dealing with software that has no idea about it. How can you tell the software what to do unless you actually went into the advanced settings, clicked in all the parameters for your cabin, and then maybe you should have slightly more information there. But yeah, don't worry too much about that, dude. Just kind of do it as a general rule of thumb for bandwidth and tuning. I would like to hear your car at Slam if it happens to be the way. Yeah, I would love for you to come hear the car, dude. It freaking makes me so happy to let people hear this crap. I hope you can show us how to calculate and make a fourth order subwoofer box. Mary Joan Montalvo. I did, and it was pretty popular. Ooh, I'm sorry. If you look up how to build a fourth order bandpass on YouTube, you will surely come across our 212s, 2-to-1 ratio, 2 cubes sealed, 4 cubes ported for a nice, it was like, I don't know, a 141, or was it 140 something? It wasn't crazy like SPL, but it sounded amazing. I'll give it that. It was my ex-girlfriend's Impala. So we did what we could accomplish out of the trunk. So 141 out of the trunk on the AT 1400 from CT Sounds, pretty decent. But make sure you go check that out. You should have some great informative tips and tricks along the way. Let's see. Timmy Brown, Brispy, Rick Esnick, Upcar, Ratan, Get Wrecked, Jacob Gross, Calum, and everybody, thank you so much for joining the live stream. This feels really great. And you know what else felt really great? This is totally off topic. The other weekend, I went, or it was probably a month ago now, Mike Gibson, the People's Park. I went freaking riding, four-wheeling. I was going crazy. My girlfriend was in the seat. We came back, had so much freaking fun, had mud all over our faces. Some really great pictures from that day. Yeah, but I'm just getting a little bit off topic here. Let's give a couple more shout outs here. What's the best tuning on an 18-inch subwoofer box for a FI BTL N3? Okay, another one of those suggestive questions. Excuse me, subjective questions. Now, everybody's different. I don't even really know what type of music that you like. A lot of people only listen to slowed shit nowadays. A lot of people only listen to stuff on the radio, Gucci Gang and friggin' all that Savage 21 stuff. Figure out what you're trying to accomplish, and then I would say, come back to me then, because personally, I think the best tuning for an 18 is like 28 hertz, because you still have a lot of leeway on the lower roll-off, and you can rely on the second harmonic to kind of pick up on the upper end around 50 hertz. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I kind of go for. I love 28 hertz. That's like my favorite. 28 to 32 is my favorite ballpark. Hey, William Fisk, how you doing, buddy? I think I have seen you around here before, Mr. William. I think I've seen you around here. I got a JBL 350 RMS GT15 and a 12-inch JBL 250 watt RMS in the... Wait, that's not a question. That's a comment. That's cool, man. That's a nice little something. There you go. Let's scroll down here. Okay, how would you recommend from Maximum Pain 12? He asked, how would you recommend to stop getting your amps from overheating so fast? I have a couple little things on this for information. I actually plumbed through a couple ducts of my air conditioning lines to my trunk via some pipes. It was corrugated and it had a little bit more restriction than I wanted it, so I would have actually used straight flat pipes with a smooth inner surface instead of that, but it still did just the trick for reducing the temperature in my trunk on 90-degree weather days to an ambient temperature below 80 degrees. Even though the pipes are only pushing out roughly 60 degrees, it's enough to offset the temperature, enough to cool the space in my trunk. So I have 2 tubes pushing, I don't know how many cubic feet of air per minute, but enough that you can hear it and feel it. And then I have 4 bilge fans that push 220 CFM per fan. So that's like 800 plus cubic feet of air movement per minute. And I open the windows and let that cold air just circulate. That's how I did it, and that's how you can do it too. Hey, what's up? I am not a person. Of course you are a person. Everybody is a person. Don't say that about yourself. Don't say that about yourself. Let's see, a couple more shout outs. Hey there, I'm hoping we can exchange demos at Slam. Dwayne Johnson, most certainly. Visit us at the PSI booth, like we mentioned a couple minutes ago. Jamie Petty, of course you can get a shout out. Jamie, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Or Mrs.? I'm not sure. It's a unisex name. I've had that happen like twice in this video so far. Any opinions on image dynamics subs? I love the videos. Thank you, Colin. I fucking appreciate you watching. Oh, try not to cuss in this video. Image dynamic subs. They have been around. They have proven the test of time, and people are still fans of them. So to me, that is a win-win in my book. If a product has been around for as long as they have and still has a good reputation for performance, there you go. There's just a simple opinion right there. EXO, do you already have a plan for what type of box you want to build in Frankie? Fuck. No, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. My indecisiveness is now very clear to you, huh? No. Yes, and no. I really want to do a bandpass box, but space is a bish, and the angle to the step down to the front portion of the enclosure is a bish. It changes my plans for wanting to do what I originally planned, which sucks. So I think I'm going to be forced into doing something instead of choosing to do something, just because of limitations of space. So unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. Bandpass. It's going to be bandpass. I can't quite tell you exactly what. Probably fourth, because I can get away with less space. You know what I mean? Is 40 hertz the best tuning for a deep, powerful sounding bass? We just talked about that a second ago, and I will not deny that a 40 hertz tuning is great across the board. Like, I would venture to say almost 100% of the time, prefab boxes, or what's called prefab boxes, are tuned to like 40 hertz. Almost all of the time. You get a relatively decent musical response. Your roll off on the low end is a little steeper than what I prefer because I enjoy down into the 20s. But yes, that overall, that is a very common point of tuning. You know, Dave the Box Guy? Do you guys remember Dave the Mother Truckin' Box Guy? He would swear like by it, you know, night and day, 40 hertz tuning. I can remember almost 80% of that guy's boxes were tuned to 40 hertz, and he was doing 50s on a pair of 10s. So yes, efficiency wise, he does pretty damn well with what he does. You know what I'm saying? All right, Rukudu Sinin. Rukudu Sinin. Sorry if I'm slaughtering your name, man. That's just straight offensive. Just kidding. All right, Reduku, when you calculate the volume of bass box, do you divide the port volume from the box volume, or is it included in the box? Okay, very good question. Very good question. I think you meant to say subtract instead of divide, but that's okay. Overall, no, and you have to do it yourself and make sure that you put in your port thickness or your port wall thickness in that section. If you click on Bassbox Pro and click over to your port, there'll be a little box down here that allows you to put in the displacement, and it says, you know, width, and you can say how much of the port is actually inside the box, because you know how some people have ports that are partially internal and partially external. You can totally calculate that right in Bassbox Pro. It's that little box down there. Just click in. If you're using 3/4 inch, just use 3/4 inch by however long it goes into the box, and then it will automatically calculate it for you. But if you didn't do that, it will not calculate port volume. That is a huge factor of error and difference when people like, oh man, this thing was plotting great and now it's so peaky. Well, did you account for your port volume? You can't, it won't do it all by itself unless you plug in, you know, if you're using the Aero port, plug in, you know, 0.125. I think that's what, 1/8 of an inch. And then, you know, if you're using your MDF, 0.75. Just be sure that you did that. Awesome question, man. Great question. Who would you recommend I get an high output alternator from? Uh-oh. Get your guns. People are going to be getting pissed here. This is a heated subject no matter where you go. It seems like alternator companies have the biggest bash fest between those who use it and those who don't use it, or companies, them. I would personally, you know, I have had absolutely zero problems in performance and customer service with my iRaggy alternators. I love them. I have also had no problems with my father's MechMan alternator that we installed on his F-150. I enjoyed that performance. I've worked with DC power alternators back in 2010, 2011 with the 270 XPs. Those are the only three that I have personal experience with performance and customer service. iRaggy alternator, DC power alternator, and MechMan. But there's other choices. Excessive, CES, Jonathan Patrick, JS. There's all sorts of different ones, and then there's those Power Bastards and eBay brands. And I am not going to sit here and say that there's a best alternator company. There's only what you can afford and who you want to run. Me personally, I have never had a single issue with my iRaggies, and that's why I continue to use them and continue to talk about them, because I do enjoy it. You are a genius in this subworld. Oh, do I think so? Absolutely not. No, I am just repeating everything that I have accumulated over a 10-year period of being entrenched, literally entwined in this community on a 24/7 basis. That's all it is. If it wasn't for you guys, people just like you who just happen to throw out insights and feedback and all of that great little, you know, back and forth information, I would be nothing. I would be nothing without you guys. Like, I'm just here repeating what I've learned. Like, I won't deny that I have a little bit of knowledge, yes, but I'm nothing special. There's people out there with 10 times, a million times more knowledge and talent than I do. I'm not I can fabricate things fairly well, but I'm not like a David Berger or someone who can make something look so beautiful, like plexiglass and LED accents with laser etching CNC. I'm nothing in this industry, really. I'm just a layman. I'm a guy just like you. Really, I am. Thank you, though. That really makes me feel good. Thank you. Let's see here. What do you think about Crescendo 4.5Ks not having clipping lights on the bass knob, but the other ones do? Oh, dude, don't even get me started on a bass knob. Oh, God. Personally, I despise, no. I loathe the provided bass knobs that come with amplifiers. I think they're too easy to turn. I think they're, I don't like them. I want to be able to control multiple amplifiers from one analog knob. So I have never, ever used the provided remote knob that an amplifier gives you. I've only had problems with it. Like sometimes you can have these fluttering issues, at least with a couple of my amps I did back in the day. Like, nuh-uh, I don't even like it. So a clipping indicator light doesn't really mean anything to me. So I'm sorry if that wasn't exactly the answer you were looking for, but there's many other ways that you can know that your system won't be clipping or prevent it from clipping in the first place. So I don't necessarily need a light to tell me that. Hey, greetings from the Netherlands. What's up, dude? Freaking love ya. Thank you for watching the videos from such a far off place. I've been wanting to go over that way a long time. Let's give can I get a shout out? Basshead Forever Club. Shout out Basshead Forever Club from EXO. Thank you for watching this live stream video. We are going to try to answer Joe Lane's question now with what does strapping mean? Very good question, and a very misunderstood question, because so many people think that just having two amplifiers means, oh, he's got his amps are strapped. He's got two amps. Okay. Strapping an amplifier. First off, let me tell you the only circumstance where I would ever even begin to think about strapping an amplifier, because there's really no reason to do it unless you're trying to use more than one amplifier on one voice coil. So say if you have a subwoofer that has two voice coils and you have two amplifiers, you have just as many voice coils as amplifiers, so there's no reason to strap anything. And same thing goes for larger quantities of amps and subs and lower. So say if you had two strappable amplifiers, two 2.5Ks, and you had a 5,000 watt sub, right? On what I would 100% of the time gain match those amplifiers instead of splitting. All right, no, let me actually explain to you what actually strapping does. It splits the load between the amplifiers. So say if you have an ending resistance impedance of 1 ohm, each amplifier is now going to see half of an ohm. So to me, you're now relying on one side of the amplifier to tune the other one. So if you have a failure on one amp, you have a failure on both sides. So that's another reason why I don't like it, because technically when you have a failure with gain matched amplifiers, you can still produce output in an emergency situation at a show. So that's the only time I would ever strap, if you have too many voice coils, if you have not as many voice coils as amps. So 1 voice coil, 2 amps, 2 voice coils, 4 amps. Sure, strap a pair per voice coil. That's when it would make sense. But if you have enough amps, don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Let me scroll down. Holy crap, I have scrolled down so far. I am so sorry if I'm skipping your question. I'm just going to give you guys some shout outs. Cordal, Regix, Aaron, Anthony Ramirez, Polly Rat P, Sleeper S10, Sleeper 10S. How's it going, man? It's good to see you on the channel nowadays. Jeremy Gibson. Let's try to get this answer. This question answered. I don't even know what it is. EXO. Where should you set your subsonic filter and low pass filter on an amp? Just a good general starting point. I just bought 2 Soundcube HDS 3 15-inch subs and have two Rockford Fosgate P2s That both took a crap. Oh, okay, so he had a couple subs that took a crap. He replaced them with some SoundCube HDS 315s, and now he's wondering, what's the optimal subsonic filter and low-pass filter setting? Okay, now in the beginning of this video, we talked about if you should set all of the settings on either your head unit or your amplifier, or combine them both to have both the settings set on the head unit and the amplifier. Now, there's an advantage to only setting them on both, so you don't have any interfering crossover points, possibly malforming a nice, beautiful sine wave. So I would say, overall, my favorite, or a nice general safe point of a subsonic filter is around 20 hertz. Now, some people will say, shit, I play down to 20 hertz at full volume. Well, that's really awesome, but not many people can do that, especially on a normal everyday setup. So I would tune that anywhere between 25 to 20 hertz, depending on what your everyday material is. And then I would set your low pass up to, I sometimes go all the way up to 80 hertz because of the nice transient notes going up that high, and not always did the songs always put like -5 dB into 80 hertz when they're just playing some Kesha or Britney Spears. It's usually going to be a little bit dialed down a little bit on those upper frequencies. So that's why I bring it up just a tiny little bit. And it does have a nice natural roll off regardless because of the box tuning. So you can rely on that a little bit and still have good output on the upper end. What does trapping mean? I have no idea. Oh, like bass trapping? Like bass traps? Like you may be referring to something called like a Helmholtz resonator or something like that. It's actually a way of controlling over-pressurized modes in your house. It's not necessarily something even talked about in car audio. That's like home audio stuff, bass traps, room modes, and standing waves where certain points in the room will be completely loud, and then 2 feet in front of you will be like, what the hell happened to the bass? That's when using bass traps and Helmholtz resonators in certain areas of those rooms can be advantageous and improve sound quality. But I think that's what you're talking about. It has nothing to do with car audio at all, really. All right, a couple more questions here. Let's go, actually, a couple more shout outs. Patrick Boom, a fish guy, Anthony Ramirez, DSK Illuminator, freaking cool screen name, man. That is some otherworldly stuff right there. Kyle DeLiffer, I just got 2 Sundown ZV515s build done. There you go. Good luck with the rest of it, man. Always nice to see people stepping up their game. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're gonna answer a couple more questions here, then I've got to call it quits. My voice is getting tired. I will be at Slamology with Little Blue. Yes, I will. How do you feel about backcap batteries? Backcap, freaking hell. I really haven't heard much about backcap since freaking like 2011. They were really popular, the backcap 4000s. Everybody was seemingly using them up in the New York area, upper state New York. I would go check out the St. Jude show, and at least a dozen people had the backcap batteries. It seems to have fallen off a little bit, though. I'm not 100% sure where they have gone. They were way more common back then, but I'm still a fan. They have great performance ratings, and if I ever came across one, I would definitely hold on to it. Yeah, I still think they're pretty decent. All right, guys. Okay, actually, I do want to answer this question. Do I still have the Ascendant Audio Mayhem sub? Remember when I made that video for Steve that got so popular, and he was pretty pumped, and to say thank you, he sent me over a friggin' awesome sub, Mayhem 18, and that's what started it all with my SPL journey, really, like, as far as getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I do not have it. I actually traded it in a little bit of trade for my old wall in my van. Remember, I had the 218s? I bought the Soundstream Triple X's and the wall from Dave the Box Guy, and he gave me like $500 off. And I gave him the sub, and I bought the 2. I upgraded to the 2 Soundstream Triple X's. So I sold it, upgraded it, and then got rid of the van, obviously, and so much stuff has happened in the meantime. All right, guys, let's give a couple more shout outs and apologize to the people who we can't answer your questions. Calum, Dr. Technical, all those guys, thank you so much for asking questions. If I didn't get around to it, I apologize. I'm trying my best just to do all this. So thank you for watching, guys. I will talk to you in the next one. Let's figure out how to end this. I think I have to get up off my fat ass and end it over here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you in the next one.